Hi, my name is Brandon Gum with Thermaltech Engineering. We're an MEP firm that offer mechanical, plumbing, and electrical solutions for a variety of industries. Today we're going to be talking about how to create a custom AutoCAD MEP tag. So in this drawing here, we've got a floor plan that then has Xref and a piping system. So this is actually a 3D piping system that is using the AutoCAD piping right here. So this is going to apply to ducts, pipes, conduit, cable trays, all that fun jazz. And so there's several nuances with this, and so today we're going to be discussing how to make all those. So to start, in order to make a tag, you can use the out of the box MEP tags by just going to the piping tab and using pipe tag, tagging your object. You're able to tag objects even if they are an Xref, so that's not a problem. And you can also see that when we hover over this pipe here, it's actually giving us information about this specific pipe, even though it is an Xref. So moving on, in order to create this, we need to declare a tag, and to do that, we'll be making some changes to the style manager. So specifically, the property set definitions is where we're going to need to pull from. So for this, since this is a pipe, we're gonna add something in here. You could also do it in pipe fitting objects and pipe objects. To see what this property set definition applies to, we can click here, applies to. It's going to take a second to load, but it's going to give us all of the different categories of items in AutoCAD MEP that this can apply to. So specifically, we're going to be checking pipe fittings, flex pipe, and all of those. And it does take a second to load here. So this is loaded at the top here. This gives us a summary of everything. This applies to objects. I don't know what this classifications is. You don't need to use this for what we're going to be doing today. But you can see here that we have these check boxes checked, and then they are then summarized here. So I'm going to go back to definition, and we're going to create a definition. So our goal for today is to create a tag that I'm actually going to get out of here, and I'm going to show you what the native tag does first. When you tag, you're going to get this. This is going to come up. It's going to tell you what all the property types of that specific pipe are. So you can see everything in here. The custom one that we created is this one right here, and so you're gonna get this in this window here, and you just hit OK, and this is how it's coming in right now. So it's a 3-inch pipe. I don't know what CIP means. I'm not a mechanical engineer, but essentially what our engineers wanted, they wanted it to give the pipe size, the system that it's on, and then the bottom of pipe here. So the following is how we're going to do that. You can also see that my layers are different, so I actually haven't corrected that yet. It looks like our textiles are also different. We're not going to address that in this video. That should be pretty straightforward to fix. But we're going to focus on nuances in Style Manager. So I'm going to come back up here to Document, or Style Manager, Property Set Definitions, Pipe Object. This is the one that I created, and I just want to talk about how you can combine these together. For whatever reason, I had a lot of trouble with this, and I felt as though there were several nuances. Essentially, we want the nominal diameter parameter. We want the system, which is also known as abbreviation. So down here, you can either select system or abbreviation. System here would literally spell it out as chilled, like for example, chilled water return versus CHWR, and then bottom of pipe. So I'm going to hit cancel here. I'm going to start this from scratch. I'm going to show you what does not work first and what does work. So in order to pull properties from here, you need to make whatever. So for example, if we need nominal pipe diameter, you can add the automatic property definition. So if I hit this, I believe it is loading, here it is, we could then import we could import any of these essentially, because these are already declared for piping objects in general. In this case, we don't need to do that. The ones that we need are already declared in here. But for example, if you made your own property set definition and you needed that to populate and the information modeling for that pipe, that's when you would add that stuff in here. And so I'll just expand on that a little bit more before I continue on. So in a new drawing, if I create a pipe, draw it like this, and I just click on that pipe, go to properties, and we go to extended data. Oh, well, that's not what I expected. Okay. Well, if I tag it, I know this will work. If I tag it, hit OK on that, come over here, click on this, go to properties, and we go to extended data. We're going to get all the property set definitions that are coming in here. And so if you needed to create a category in here, you could create it whatever, and you could say it applies to pipes, and then that's when you could bring in those the automatic set definition that we were just talking about. But let's move on here, and so I'm going to go back to pipe objects. And so, for example, like we could have this one apply to pipes, and so then all new pipes would come in with that property set information as well. So again, style manager here, and moving along, we will do this. We're going to create a new one of these. So we're going to create a formula is how we're going to do this, and name it whatever you want up here. And so in order to do this, you would think, so let's say, for example, you're looking for nominal diameter, and you want that separated by a dash, and then you want system. I'm going to first show you what does not work. This does not work. And then I read online that you should do result equals whatever you want here. So I'll do nominal diameter again. Again, not working. Then I heard that if you do it in quotations, it should work. And right there, it's saying that not available and standard. So we at least know that it's trying to pull those things in here. And so I'm actually going to switch over to this drawing where it's not an Xref, and this will help us more because now it's actually going to populate when we do this. Just bear with me here. So go to pipe object here. Okay, so I'm going to do a formula just like we were just doing. And you can either type in the result thing that I was talking about earlier, or you can come in here into the VB script code. Just double click on that. And then let's throw in nominal diameter and system. And so you can see that it's populating that stuff right there. And if we throw a dash in between these, it's still showing it. And if we put these in quotations, it's showing it like that. So you would think this would work, or you would also think that without these quotations it would work, but for whatever reason it does not. And what you actually have to do is string concatenation. So one of the fundamentals of computer programming is messing with strings or text, and concatenation is known as a terminology used for combining two strings into one string, or two text objects into one text object. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be concatenating essentially these variables together. And so the way you do that in VB scripts, so if you Google VB script code language reference concatenation, you're going to arrive at the same conclusions that I did. And in the last video I shot on this, which I've now scrapped, I talked about that a little bit more, and I showed the link. But what we're going to be doing is it's pretty straightforward. So if you just come down here to operators and go to concatenation, you see that we have these two options. I actually don't know what the plus is for, but the language reference online says concatenation is with the ampersand sign. So essentially, if we just come in here and in between these two, we just throw in this ampersand, it's going to work just fine. Now, you can see that there's no separation in between these. So if we then want to have a dash in between these, we're going to put that in quotes and then an ampersand right behind it. And then it's generating it like that now. We can take this one step further, and let's say we want this to be a 6, it's saying just 6 right now. If we want it to be 6-inch pipe, then what we can do is we can concatenate that with another quote. And so there's something known as string literals in programming, and you can't just put in another quote for whatever reason. It's just not. It's going to break it. As you can see, it broke the equation here. So that's not going to work. You might be able to do 3 in a row here. Yeah, that still breaks it. So the fix for that is actually to use a char, CHR, and so that's an ASCII character code lookup. And so for that, it'll be someplace in here. I don't know exactly where it's at. I do know that the code for it is string right here. Yeah, here it is, char. And then for the code, I know it's 34 for oops. I know it's 34 to insert. Why is this not working? So if we do CHR 34, perfect. So if you need to know more information about this, just Google ASCII code. So, and I was going to pull it over here, my Chrome just broke. Anyways, so now we've got this formatted like that. So we'll do another ampersand. We'll do another quotation, throw a dash in the middle of it, and then now we're going to throw in our very last calculation, which is bottom of pipe. And again, we just broke our link, as you can see here. It's showing the whole string, so we know we just broke it. But we learned earlier that we just need to put that in quotations, and then we're off to the races. So this is a result that we're seeing right now. Everything looks good. So for this, we're just going to do tag test. I'm going to hit OK. Okay, I see what I did wrong. So I'm just going to double click on that to edit it, and I'll just get rid of that space with an underscore instead. And I'm going to hit OK. And now that property set definition is declared. So I believe that if we were to look at the extended data for this pipe, we are going to now see tag test is in here with all the information that we declared. So that worked properly. It was applied to the pipe object just as we thought it would. So now how do you create the tag? We're going to do, we're going to declare an M text. So here I'm actually going to make this M text say size system BOP. Those are the exact same property definitions, property set definitions that we are targeting for this tag. So I'll just do it like this, and for the size of it, you want to do it at 1 inch. I believe it is always 1 inch, even if your standards are not 1 inch for paper space. So let me just check with that, set it to 1 inch. I think I did it incorrectly. Yeah, I did. So I'm gonna just change this to 1 inch. Okay. So when you make this tag, you want this to be set up as 1 inch, and then the tag will automatically scale annotatively. So we can check what our annotative scale is set up to be by typing in unit. Type in unit, go over here to scale, and annotation plot size is right here, and whatever this number is, it's going to scale it up to be this, along with your annotation scale. So in paper space, our standard is 330 seconds. So I'm just going to cancel out of that. So that's just something to check and be aware of. So to define the tag, just type in define tag. Select the objects to create a tag from. And then now we'll just name this as TEI tag, where it says type, switch it to property. And now we're going to be doing property set and then property definition. So the property sets that are going to populate are the same ones that are in the style manager that we were just looking at. And so we were looking at pipe object earlier. And then now we're going to be able to select the definition within there. And so we made tag test is the one that we made. So I'm going to hit OK on that. Define your insertion. We're going to follow our prompts at the bottom, define your insertion point. So we'll do ours right there. And so now we have created that tag. So now if I do my pipe tag, I insert it. I say OK to the prompt here. It comes in. I haven't made this in our tool palette yet. We'll talk about that. And you can come over here to properties and then change this to be TEI tag. And boom, just like that, it's scaling up properly based off of our annotation scale here. And so then if you want to add this to a tool palette, all you got to do is drag and drop it over here, and then you're good to go. And that's now your tool palette. Just make sure your tool palettes are not locked. So I have admin rights right now, so that's why the lock symbol's not coming in down here. But if yours are read-only, you're not going to be able to add it to, obviously, your enterprise read-only palettes. So just keep that in mind. Moving on, let's talk about a few more nuances and the things that I was struggling with. Might as well just document them in case somebody's watching this and they can't seem to figure this out. So when I was making a tag definition, the only way that I was able to get multiple tags to come in at once, using the formula function within Style Manager was not working for me. I could not get more than 2 definitions to come in on a single text object. So what I ended up doing was doing define tag. Well, what I did try to do at one point is define tag when I actually select object. I selected all of these. And then here you can see that you can then specify 3 different tags for each 3 of these. And so that will work. However, it's impossible to get them to be all in one line. The only way it's going to work for you is if you have them on separate lines like this. And so what I just laid out, how to do this is the best practice and the proper workflow for what you're probably trying to accomplish. And lastly, we're just checking a few last things. So what happens if you need to edit this for whatever reason? So this is actually a multi-view part. And so you can change this stuff here, and you go to extended data here. And if we expand some of this stuff, you can see all the extended data associated with that pipe. But this is actually, there's a block actually associated with this. And so the name of that block, there's 2 ways to find it out. Well, either you remember what the block name is, or which should be the same as your tag definition possibly. But all you do is you go to documentation objects. No, take that back. You go to multi-purpose objects, multi-view block definitions. Here's our TE tag, and it tells you the name of the tag, the name of the block that is associated with that tag. So it's TEI tag. So if I do a B edit on this now, and I find TEI tag, now I'm able to edit that block. And you can see that this is actually an attribute. This is an attribute definition here. And so for whatever reason, it's on the G border layer. I probably want that to be on layer 0 because that's the best practice, as we know for blocks. You always want your blocks to be on layer 0, otherwise they cannot inherit our layers. So we'll hit save, and now if I select these and I put these on the, and that did not work. Okay. Huh. Well, I will not take the time to troubleshoot why this is coming in like that. Yeah, so I paused the video there just a second to try to see if I could figure out why this is coming in we have it on the ENT layer, but it's still inheriting the G border the G border layer property for whatever reason. I am not sure why that is. It may have something to do up here with Display Manager. I'm not too familiar with almost any of this stuff, so yeah, I really don't know why it's coming in right here, but that's for another time to figure that out. But I hope this video was helpful. If you're having any issues with your formulas, just double check that VB script. That VB script is probably where you need to be focusing on, whether it's string concatenation or even if it's multiplication, addition, subtraction. So if this video helped, feel free to ask any questions. And actually, we'll take this one step further and say that, let's say that you need to, so you set this up. Ideally, you want to set this up in your TWT, your drawing template that your company will be using. That is the best practice to use. But for whatever reason, if you start doing this in the middle of a job and you need all the sheets within that job to inherit this, just go ahead and open them up and go ahead and open all them up. Go into the one that contains your property set and go ahead and just drag it into all the other drawings. So if we do this, it's going to ask if we want to override it. So you'd hit override existing. I don't want to do that actually, so I'm going to hit cancel. but that will work to bring all that stuff in. Now, additionally, you also need the multi-view part to come in as well, right? So the property sets are coming in, but you also then need this. So you'll do the same thing here, and you'll just drag that up to there, and you're good to go. So there's that. One last thing, if you do that and you start trying to tag things and the tags aren't coming in correctly, you just need to reload whatever your Xrefs are if you're trying to tag an Xref. So for example, I declared that tag and that multi-view part in here, but and as well as in this drawing. But then when I tried to tag it in here, it wasn't working. And you know that it's not working if whatever you name this block, let's say that it was TEI tag or whatever. Well, actually, it's whatever your MTech says before you declare it as a tag. So I think for that, we named this one like system size BOP. So if it said system size BOP, then I know that whatever I'm trying to tag does not have the property set definition that I'm trying to tag it with. And so the way you check that is you can just, well, in that case, you can just click on that tag that you just made. So we'll just make a new tag, and it's going to come in just fine. But if it didn't, what you can do is you can click on your tag here, you go to properties, extended data, and everything that's listed here are the properties of what you just tagged. And so, for example, we just did the TEI pipe spec. If that was not listed here, then that tells you that property definition has not been declared in the drawing that contains this pipe, and that is your underlying issue for why it is coming in that way. So just to reiterate just one last time, if your tag comes in with whatever your MTech said before you declared it as a tag, the underlying issue is your property set definition for whatever you're trying to tag. So hope that helps.